Good morning and welcome to Understanding E-commerce. Today we're going to talk about an article that we have on the site that is titled SEO Tips for B2B Companies. And we're going to go through some of the recommendations in the article. But before we do that, I want to answer the question, like, why should you even be listening to us, right? There's lots of people out there, lots of people sharing tips, and lots of people who claim to do SEO. And we're one of them. We think we're good, but why should you listen to us? And I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why. One of the things that I truly believe in is to do what you preach. So we do SEO and we do it on our own site as well, and we get results. So just to give you some ideas of the type of results that we see is if you look at our Alexa ranking, we're at around 70,000, right? Which is pretty decent. If you're looking at a SEO company and they are telling you all the great things they do and their own site doesn't rank, what does that tell you? If they can't do and rank their own site, then why do you depend on them to rank yours? To give you a sense of what a $70,000 ranking on SEO, clearly we're not at the top. We're not Google, we're not Microsoft, we're not any of the big players, but we have a decent ranking. And what that equates to in monthly traffic, let's take a look. So we use plugins, and one of the plugins that we use is SiteKit by Google, which ties into our Google Analytics account and gives us some tracking metrics that we can use to understand what kind of traffic we're getting. Gives us some additional metrics that we'll get into on another video, but primarily what we're going to talk about today is the metrics on our site. So a 70,000 ranking on Alexa, that is, according to our statistics last month, what that meant was that we got 749,000 views on impressions on Google, which resulted in about 13,000 visitors visiting our site in the last 28 days. Of those 13,000 visitors, about 8.5 thousand visitors clicked on something within the post that they're reading, something they liked, something they wanted to read more. So we got total clicks of 8.5 thousand. Again, this gives you an idea of, so clearly, we're not the top players, but we can generate traffic. We've generated close to 749,000 total impressions in the last 28 days. We've had 13,000 visitors. And we can at least demonstrate that we are applying the knowledge that we have and it's resulting in traffic on our site. So let's go back to the article and look at some of the tips. That was just to give you a little bit of information. So when you are thinking about hiring someone, obviously we'd love you to think about us, but if you're thinking about hiring someone and for whatever reason we're not in the mix, can't imagine why that would be, but for whatever reason we're not in the mix, take a look at the SEO company that you're working with and that you're is being pitched to you, and look at their own metrics. And I would question whether or not, if they don't generate the kind of metrics that demonstrate that they can demonstrate traffic to their own site, what are they going to do for you? So we'll go back to the article. SEO tips for B2B companies. This is a relatively comprehensive article, but we'll go through some of the highlights, and you're always welcome to visit the site. Look under the SEO category and you will find this article today. If not, you can do, there is a search feature at the top of the website, right around here, and you can always type in the title and you'll find it if you're viewing this video down the road, which is very possible. So let's talk about SEO and let's talk about some of the tips. Why do we want to do SEO, right? So the reason why we do SEO is because if we can be found organically through search on Google, and we mentioned Google because Google owns about 85% of the search market, this will increase the visibility of our company. So we want to have greater visibility on Google so that we can increase the visibility of our company. You stumbled upon this. It's also YouTube being a Google product because you did some kind of search and this video came up. So that's a way for us to increase the visibility of our company through search. SEO is very much tied to content because without regular content, you're not going to rank. You need to provide content on a regular basis that Google can find that is optimized in order to increase your likelihood of being on the first page. So you need to have a content strategy. You need to do both on-page and off-page SEO. Things like on-page is your meta tags, your alt tags for images, your H1 and H2 tags on each article. You can see our H1 tag is the title. And then at the bottom, we repeat that for consistency purposes with an H2 tag right here, right? Some of the other on-page, we do both internal and external links within the content, right? Google looks for this. If you're going to cite something, if you're going to make reference to something, you should include a link. And you should include links that are both on your site as well as external sites or other reference points. So we'll do some on-page optimization. Off-page optimization is backlinking strategies where you provide quality content so that other people connect to it. And we consider a backlink, or Google considers backlink, a vote of confidence. If somebody links to your website, if somebody links to your article, they've linked to it likely because they like the content or they like what they're seeing. They may link it within their own articles, or they may share it on social media. And then we try to cover all the different platforms. We would share this article on social media, and we're going to do a YouTube video. Here we are doing a YouTube video to spread the word on the content and to create greater visibility. So some of the off-page stuff is social media, backlink strategies, directories, whatever you might do. Why does those so matter? It's about creating visibility. Why do we want visibility? Because we want lead generation. We want to generate leads. We've spent the time and money to build our websites, creating quality content, and we're not doing this because we have nothing else to do. We have businesses, we're running businesses. We're doing this because this increases the likelihood of lead generation, which turns into business, which turns into money. So, we're not doing this because we're a nonprofit, we're doing this for business. And one of the ways that we find to be very effective is through combining content and SEO. So that's how it plays, SEO plays in the real world. Of course, it's really important to develop the proper keywords. And one of the challenges that we find is that a lot of people who are industry players will put in keywords that are well known within industry players themselves, but not necessarily customers. One of the things that you can do when it comes to choosing keywords is go to Google and type in a keyword, and then Google, if we can do this really quick, let's just type in SEO, right? Type in a keyword, and one of the things that Google will do is tell you what people are looking for. If you scroll down a little bit, it'll tell you the most frequently asked questions that are surrounding your keyword. And these are the types of topics that you want to make sure they're ready about. So I typed in SEO, and Google tells me that the most common questions around SEO and what people are searching for is, what is SEO in marketing? What is SEO and how it works? What does SEO mean? SEO means search engine optimization. And what is an example of SEO? So we're going to look at these questions when we're developing content, because Google is telling us this is what people are searching for. This is what people are looking for. So you want to answer the questions that are being searched for on Google. Let's see if it's going to let me get back to where I was. Yeah. Okay. So our keywords are going to be built around what people are searching for, right? Rather than just simply trying to push the keywords that we know as industry insiders, because our audience may not know that. Look at Google, use these tools. There are other tools out there that we talk about in other videos about keywords, but this is probably the primary way that we begin to look at keywords, by looking at what is being searched for on Google relative to what we're trying to promote. Match the content with the intention of your users. This is going to go back to what are they looking for, right? It doesn't matter if I push content that I think is brilliant or I think it's self-serving to me if nobody's looking for it, or if it doesn't solve a problem that the customer is searching for. In order to generate business, we need the people that are searching for these topics to look at us as a problem solver. That's something we can help them fix. If they're looking for an understanding of SEO, we can help them. So what you're trying to do with matching your content with the intention of the user is to solve a problem they have. What are they looking for? They're looking for these types of questions on Google because they're trying to solve a problem. And ideally, your content is the solution or the guide to that problem, or a guide to a resource that will solve that problem in your services. So make sure that you match your content to your users' intentions. Look at what your competitors are doing, right? It's out there on the web. So what are they doing? What's working for them? What are their rankings? Are they using keywords? Which keywords are they using? We're not suggesting that you steal or borrow or take from competitors, but we're suggesting that you look at some of their resources and see how you can incorporate similar themes yourself, right? Because your competitors are in the same space. They're going to be working around the same keywords that you are. So you want to see what ranks for them. So there's plenty of tools out there, similar web. Neil Patel has a tool called Uber Suggest. We use that a lot, where you can just simply type in a domain and it'll tell you all the insights, what the traffic looks like, what are the keywords that they're using, where are they getting their backlinks from. So take a look at some of these SEO tools. Again, we use things like SimilarWeb and Uber Suggest as a means to looking at what our competitors are doing and getting some ideas from that. So it doesn't want to load very quickly, so we'll close that up. Include content that includes technical information. You have to tell them enough information that could potentially solve it. Right? So you don't want to keep everything to yourself, keep all the tips to yourself. What you want to demonstrate is that you understand what you're doing and you know how to do it. So if you give them the keys and they're able to solve it themselves, more power to you. But what you'll find is by explaining the technical information, most of your clients will realize that they might be better suited in hiring a professional. So never be afraid to share information, create transparency, demonstrate what you're doing. Because the reality is, you know, your clients aren't in your business, so they're not going to want to do this. But you're going to be able to demonstrate that you're a thought leader. You're going to be able to demonstrate that you have proficiency in these areas, and that's why we share technical information. Pay attention to business and commercial needs. What are the trends? What's going on in the industry? Look for industry trends. You can look at Google trends. What are people searching for? Because this will change over time. Your keywords may change over time. You know, we look at some activity pre-COVID and post-COVID. You know, there's a lot of things that we're now writing about that are a result of COVID. So you want to make sure that you're looking at trends and that you're paying attention to how the business world is changing, so that you can adapt your content to incorporate that. We use analytics. Again, I showed you earlier the tool that tells us about our traffic, and we use analytics and KPIs to understand how we're doing. Right? We don't just simply put it out there and then hope for the best. We measure it. So we look at which articles people like. We look at where the traffic is coming from. We look at what keywords are resonating with people, so that we understand going forward, we are going to develop more content around the areas that are working. If this YouTube video gets lots of traction, right, then we're going to create another YouTube video, because we've demonstrated to ourselves, at least, that this medium works. You know, if we put it on somewhere like Facebook and we get zero traffic, we're not going to waste a lot of time continuing to post on Facebook if it's not working. So use analytics, because it will guide you as to what's working for you and what is not, so that you can incorporate the things that are working in your future content. Obviously, the greater the visibility, the greater the recognition of your brand. There's an adage within marketing circles that you need to touch somebody 7 times before they'll even begin to recognize you. So this is a way to continue getting your brand front and center, have it reoccur, get recognition by people starting to see you. If they see you repeatedly and they like what they're reading, then you're going to be viewed as a thought leader. People are going to come back. They're going to use you as a resource, and hopefully they're going to hire you. So these were just some of the ideas, and we've expanded upon them within the article. So I invite you to read the article on our website. If you like this video, or if you found this helpful, please like below or leave us a comment. If you have a question about SEO, we're more than happy to answer. answer it, and you might even be a feature on our next video. So leave your questions in the comments below, leave your comments below, and we look forward to seeing you again. I'm Mike, Understanding E-commerce. Have a good day.